Over the last 60 years, fascism has been confused with Nazism. Nazism was or is simply a political party platform that embraces the combination of a military dictatorship, socialism, and fascism. Nazism is not a government structure. Fascism is a government structure. And this structure, believe it or not, is one of the most common forms of government strategies today. Fascism resembles communism, but unlike communism, which calls for the government to own all industry, fascism allows industry to remain in public hands. The most famous fascist regimes have been Benito Mussolini, Francisco Franco, and of course Adolf Hitler. The origin of the word fascism comes from the Italian fascimo, or from fascio, meaning a bundle or a political group. It also comes from the word Latin fasci, which means bundle. Throughout fascist nations, the fascist governments have always had one class of citizen that is considered superior to another. This can be through race, political organization, creed, origin, etc. The preferred citizens live in a democracy while leaving the oppressed under fascism. It is through the use of propaganda that fascism specifically targets and aims to destroy those they seem dangerous or even undesirable. Now, the Hegelian principle basically is described as problem, reaction, solution. This is used time and time again throughout fascist regimes. Attack yourself, blame your enemies, and tell the public you will protect them only if they give up their freedoms. Fascist regimes want total control of their population, but how do they get it? Problem: by creating or sponsoring a terrorist event, fear is unleashed throughout the country. Reaction: reactionary fear continues to spread, and the public cries out, something must be done to protect from reoccurring events. And the solution? The fascist regime then offers legislation or absolute power is given to protect the population from another terrorist event. One defining characteristic showing that the Hegelian principle has been used is that a lie after lie is piled through official and media sources until the truth of the actual events becomes outrageously impossible, indistinguishable, revised, or even forgotten, just as 9/11. Again, throughout history, the Hegelian principle of problem-reaction-solution has been used time and time again. One of the most famous accounts is from the 1st century AD, with Nero burning the city of Rome and then blaming it on his political opposition, the Christians. Of course, we have covered the 1933 burning of the German Parliament building, the Reichstag, by Hitler's stormtroopers. This devastation was blamed on the Nazi political enemies, the communists. And of course, the tragic events of September 11, 2001. Now, I go into great detail in the puzzle of fascism, which covers the U.S. federal government's own involvement in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, and also in the 1995 Oklahoma City federal bombing, and most recently, the London bombings on July 7, 2005. The rise of patriotic nationalism. Both patriotism and nationalism are tools of the trade for fascists. Convincing the people through the honor of their homeland is essential to the effectiveness of fascist agendas. Fascist regimes do this by making constant references to toys, patriotic slogans, mottos, songs, symbols, and flags. Now, I know it's one thing to be proud of one's nation, but everywhere you look, the stars and stripes are flying everywhere, from bumper stickers to the lapel of the president. It must also be pointed out that Germany's flag was also proudly flying everywhere. Now, is it any wonder so many people are behind the war? When you walk into a toy store, you see G.I. Joe, you see Star Wars, all these conflicts. But I was really amazed when I found this guy. This is a 12-inch Blue Box Toys George Bush Navy Pilot limited edition action figure, and it can be yours for a small price of $49.95. So get out your credit cards and your checkbooks. This is a fully detailed and equipped doll that meticulously recreates the President's appearance on the USS Abraham on May 1st, 2003. This was, of course, when he declared the end to major combat in Iraq. Now, if this toy isn't enough for you, we have another Bush action figure, this time in his more presidential attire. And when you press his flag lapel, he says aloud, "This isn't a Republican war. This isn't a Democratic war. This is an American war." Reoccurring symbolism. One surprising symbol that I have found used by fascist agendas is the eagle. Although highly believed to be an American symbol, the eagle can be traced back to Babylon when it was the phoenix. Now, the phoenix is a universal symbol of the sun, rebirth, resurrection, and immortality. Now, this symbol moved on to Egypt. Then from Egypt to the Roman Empire, where it was changed from the phoenix to become the eagle. Now, the image of the eagle can be found everywhere, and including in America on the Great Seal on the back of the dollar bill. Now, the Reichslander eagle, or the National Iron Eagle, was a symbol used in Nazi Germany. That's on the right-hand side. Now, these are both images from World War II. America on the left, Germany on the right. Here are two more images from Germany. Interestingly enough, almost identical symbols appeared throughout the United States. The argument has been raised that the Germans stole the symbol of the eagle from America. But you must realize, again, this symbol goes back thousands of years. Now, in the wake of the September 11th attacks, the use of the eagle has soared, literally. Now, the U.S. Postal Service issued two new stamps in 2001, the 57-cent stamp and the 55-cent stamp, golden eagle and a green eagle. The U.S. Postal Service refers to these as the Art Deco eagle. And again, the Art Deco era was World War II. And surprisingly, the Third Reich used similar symbols. Support nationalism, even in death. What I find really shocking about the war on terrorism is that the war slogan propaganda is now appearing on dead soldiers' headstones across America. Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom are everywhere. Now, these are three tombstones I have found in Arlington National Cemetery. I have blacked out the names and the ranks for respect purposes. Many of the families of the fallen soldiers have been given the option to have this slogan on their tombstones for free. But many of the families killed in Afghanistan and Iraq have this put on their tombstone without the family's permission. Another card fascists like to play is to create an enemy or a foe and identify that enemy as a threat to the country. With patriotism in full gear and the enemy identified, the next step is to rally the people together into a patriotic frenzy with one mission and unifying cause in mind: the elimination of that perceived threat, either a communist, a terrorist, or a racist. And in many cases, this causes war. War. There is nothing on earth that centralizes power like war. During the times of war, populations rally together. While the population is busy watching the war, freedoms are stomped down. Case in point, 9/11. Now, this is pretty scary. In a December 17, 2004 Cornell University survey revealed that 44% of Americans believed civil liberties should be restricted for Muslims. 27% favored requiring American Muslims to register with the federal government. 65% of self-described highly religious people said they view Islam as encouraging violence more than other religions. Now, in a Harris poll released February 18, 2005, I found these statistics. 88% of U.S. adults believe that Saddam Hussein would have made weapons of mass destruction if he could have. 76% believe that Iraqis are now better off than they were under Saddam Hussein. 47% believe that Saddam Hussein helped and plan and support the hijackers who attacked the U.S. on September 11, 2001. Control over the mass media. Now, I'd like to ask you, the intelligent audience watching me here, who said this? All propaganda must be so popular on which an intellectual level that even the most stupid of those towards whom it is directed will understand it. Through clever and constant application of propaganda, people can be made to see paradise as hell, and also the other way around, to consider the most wretched sort of life as paradise. That's right, Adolf Hitler.